Good morning. Thank you for tuning in. I woke up to a bunch of tags on Twitter, which I appreciate, but I'm just letting you know the situation here. So, a bunch of tags on Twitter about this VTuber agency, WACTOR. WACTOR, don't know how to pronounce it. My bad if I got it wrong. I'm not too familiar with this one, actually. And apparently a situation where they doxed one of their talents or ex-talents. Now, before we even get to that, I was brushing up on my information on this VTuber agency. And over on virtualyoutuber.fandom.com, if this is true, they write, on March 2nd, 2022, WACTOR was involved in a scandal where they revealed in a statement the real name of one of their talents who had been suspended since November 2021. The statement announces a damage claim in a lawsuit against the person in charge of Sheena Lila by engaging in VTuber, this is a quote here, by engaging in VTuber activities outside the company, and another quote, bringing discredit to the company, end quote. Taking legal action against a fan for alleged defamation was also considered. On the same day, Kurari Rose was suspended due to an undisclosed breach of contract. Layla and Rose's contracts canceled by March of that year. And before we get to the current news, I do have a brief message from today's sponsor. Big thanks to Tower of God, Great Journey, for sponsoring this video. And I'm actually really excited to talk about this game because it actually just released for global servers on February 14th. In other words, this is a great time to hop in game. Tower of God, Great Journey is of course based on the worldwide 6 billion plus viewed webtoon. With attractive characters and their great animations, you can build your team with your favorite characters from the webtoon itself. Two of the main legendary characters, Bam and Violet, can be obtained by you through the Revolution Road for free. That's right, for free. By clearing further missions in Revolution Road, players can get massive rewards, such as transcending materials, ignition weapons, and other very valuable items. Speaking of valuable items, there is a gear sharing system in-game, which allows you to use multiple items on different characters. And I love when games have features like this because it saves so much time farming and or a bunch of redundancies in going through menus over and over. There's also a beginner's guide event currently going on where you can even get a legendary character ticket and Black March, Bam's ignition weapon. On top of that, don't miss out on the launch celebration rewards, as well as a coupon code specifically for the viewers here for you guys, which will be in the pinned comment and description of this video. So consider checking out the links below, and thanks again to Tower of God, Great Journey. All right, back to the current news, and thank you guys for your patience. So before that clip, I did show you or go over some of that information about WACTOR from 2022. And the reason I brought that up is because it seems oddly similar to the news going on right now in 2023. And by the way, of course, if any of you guys have more information on this stuff, please feel free to let people know in the comments. So the new news. There are a lot of tweets today, this morning, in the VTuber community talking about that agency, WACTOR, apparently doxing one of their talents, or former talents, Hina Misora, and even posting her personal information, including her full name, ID number, and location. Oddly enough, it seems like a set of legal documents including such information was posted on Hina Misora's Twitter account. I presume WACTOR took over the Twitter account, and some WACTOR employee decided to post that information on her Twitter account, which I again assume is not actually being run by the old Hina Misora. It's kind of hard explaining this, but I think you understand my point. If you don't understand the point, let me explain that really quick. The VTuber Hina Misora is obviously ran by a human. That human still exists. However, the VTuber intellectual property of Hina Misora likely belongs to the VTuber agency. That's why they're still running her Twitter account and handling this. Hopefully that makes some more sense, I guess. Now, that's, again, part of the issue here. A lot of people are saying that they should not be posting this personal information about this VTuber and that they're, as you know, essentially doxing her now. So that's the crux of the problem going on here. Also, interestingly enough, that tweet included a link to YouTube, and obviously I redacted the information of the personal information of the VTuber there. I censored all that, as you saw, but there was that YouTube link. And if we click that, that video has actually been removed for violating YouTube's policy on harassment and bullying. I don't know what the contents of that video was, but provided that it was linked from the tweet that we just saw with the legal documents and the docs and all that, probably it was going over that information if I had to assume, and also posting it on the Misora YouTube account that has over 227,000 subscribers. So they really wanted this information to get out there, it seems. But as mentioned, that video has been taken down. The tweet is still up currently. Speaking of Misora's YouTube account, if you go over there and check out some of the recent comments on the more recent videos, a lot of the comments are talking about this situation and expressing immense disappointment with WACTOR for how they're handling this. One of the most thumbs-up recent comments basically talks about the legality or illegality of exposing such personal information of a former employee and talking about how it's unfortunate that WACTOR went this route. You may have noticed a lot of those comments are in Spanish, and it just so turns out that I have a lot of Spanish-speaking people that watch my videos. So shouts out to y'all based Spanish speakers out there. And especially because so much of this topic is in Spanish, as I mentioned earlier in the video. If any of you have additional information on this, please do let us know in the comments. It will be greatly appreciated. And on that note, let's talk about WACTOR briefly here. So to my understanding, it's a Japanese VTuber agency, VTuber company, but they have especially been targeting VTuber talent in South America. And they are looking, allegedly, they're looking at branching out to Indonesia as well. Now, I gotta say, those are both great places. South American people are awesome. Indonesian people are awesome. So I think that's a good call. Unfortunately, it seems that the agency may not be ran by the most professional people, and that's putting it rather lightly. So that's a little more context on WACTOR, and a little more context on Hina Misora. Again, I'm getting this information now from virtualyoutuber.fandom.com. Provided that this is accurate, they write regarding her retirement. They say on December 4th, again 2022, she held her last stream. On December 8th, WACTOR announced that Misora was sick and would be taking a break. The next day, she addressed this in a tweet by saying she was diagnosed with gastritis due to stress and was mentally unstable. Hina also mentioned she was looking for another hospital and told her fans to wait for her. Misora kept being active as usual on Twitter, commenting about the World Cup finals, Christmas, and the newly debuted WACTOR ES members. On December 25th, she posted one final short on YouTube. On December 31st, she made a tweet wishing for one more year together. And on January 3rd, 2023 now, she posted one final tweet saying, "This time calls for a cereal," and she then went silent in all social media. They add an epilogue, saying, hold, is it epilogue? It's epilogue, right? But that freaking, I'm playing too much Forest where that sounded like a freaking Forest thing now too. Logs, man, logs. I'm dreaming of logs, thinking of logs. Continuing, epilogue. On February 13th, 2023, Hina Misora's former actress posted a letter on Twitter stating that her contract with WACTOR was terminated on February 9th. She also apologized for any concern the past events may have caused and assured her fans that she would continue her activities as a VTuber with her new identity at her own pace. The good news is she has apparently resumed operations on her new channel with a new identity as another VTuber. So if you want to look for that, the information is pretty easy to find. I'm not going to give the new channel in my video because sometimes people don't like that, and I'm not familiar with her enough to know if she would mind that or not. So I'm going to make the safe bet here and just not show it. However, I am mentioning it. So again, if you do want to find it, the information is out there. It's pretty easy to find, and perhaps just ask in the comments and maybe someone will give you a lead too. Side note, it is epilogue, isn't it? Or no, it's epilogue. It is epilogue, isn't it? It's not epilogue. It's epilogue, I think. Here I am mentioning the other day that I'm trying to learn Spanish in the video right here, that video, and wow, I can't even speak English. Maybe I gotta rethink this whole Spanish thing a little bit and go back to English classes. I'm joking, I'm not doing that. I'm gonna keep learning Spanish. You'll have to bear with my English being a bit messed up sometimes, I guess. Thank you for your understanding and patience. And another quick side note about that, please bear with me, to my Spanish speaking audience, question for you guys. So when I posted the book in that video, that I was like learning Spanish from, and I'm also using Duolingo online, but that book, some people said that's like the European Spanish, which is different from the South American Spanish, or you know, there's a number of differences at the very least. Well, I guess I got the wrong book because I want to learn the more South American Spanish. I mean, the European Spanish is cool too. It's just I live in SoCal, I live in LA. Like the South American Spanish is more like what I'm going for. So I guess I got to get a new book. And you know what? Looking at that image again of that book I got and the cover of it, I just now noticed that is the flag of Spain, isn't it? I should have realized this sooner. Oh well. I was a little too excited, a little too trigger happy, I guess, getting right into it. Now, circling back to Hisora, I guess that pretty much is the situation. Man, I feel bad for her. That. I'm just imagining from her perspective right now. It's why I'm kind of at a loss for words. I mean, I couldn't imagine one day waking up and then you find out that your former VTuber agency just posted your name, apparently her address too, her like ID number, and then making it all that much worse. I mean, it's already awful. Making it even worse, if the virtualyoutuberfandom.com entry is correct, she apparently also has some mental instability issues. Like, again, that's literally what it says on the fandom. I'm not trying to be rude or anything. So if that's true, I mean, dude, that's insane that like she now has to deal with this on top of like everything else. I just don't see the business benefit to them releasing her information like that, which I think specifically would be a legal argument. That's why I phrased it like that. They never released her information while she was employed by them or contracted by them, but they release it when she's no longer contracted by them. So it was not a benefit to their business when she was employed. How the heck could it be a benefit to their business now that she's not? And again, I think that's going to be an important argument legally. I don't think this might not go to court anyway, so perhaps this is just a pointless hypothetical. But I would argue, if I was her attorney, that there was no need for them to release that information. And given that there's no benefit to their business of releasing such information, the only explanation and the only reason why they would release such information is out of something like malice. So don't know what's going to happen, but if she does go to court and does hire legal representation, does secure counsel, I would imagine that might be a point they bring up. And that pretty much concludes the coverage of the situation. I do wish the best to Hina Misora, although, she has since gotten a new identity and in her reincarnation, or however that's phrased for this VTuber stuff. And to be quite frank, I try to be fair to WACTOR here too. Like, I try to look at it from their perspective, and that's why I brought up as well, like, I don't see any legal reason why they would do what they had to do. So, I'm going to try to be fair to them, but even in being fair, I got to come to the conclusion that I do think they made a bad move on this. Don't think they made the right call. Finally, I actually want to apologize as well. I feel a little tacky including a promotion in this video, to be quite frank, particularly because of all the stuff we're talking about regarding Hisora. It just kind of feels a little weird, like she's got this bad stuff going on and I'm here securing the bag. But the fact of the matter is, this legal obligation of mine was planned beforehand. And as you guys know, if you saw my segment yesterday, the morning segment, this week ahead, potentially going to be real crazy for me. So I have an obligation to get that out this week. Just so happened to be the same week I got this crazy stuff going on. So I got to get that done sooner than later, just to be sure that I'm not in breach of my contract. So thank you for your understanding. We'll conclude this segment there. As always, thank you for your time as well. I look forward to seeing you in the comments and in the next one.